Hello and welcome to everyone on today's show at La Token Venture Capital TV, VCTV. We have been appearing regularly since a long time now, and I am Tushar Kansal. I'm your moderator today. I'm the host of the session today and discussing a very important subject, which is women in venture capital and investments. So, let me give you a brief background about myself. But before doing that, I will request Dr. Marraine to say hello and also introduce herself. Dr. Marraine is our frequent guest, and she belongs to a storied family office based out of Europe and Singapore. And it is always a pleasure to hear Dr. Marraine on such important topics. And hi, Dr. Marine. How are you doing?
Hello to everybody. Great to be on the show once more. Hello to you. Yes, I'm currently actually in Germany, normally Singapore based, living in Singapore since 8 years. I've spent my career in aviation, automotive electronics, and venture capital. So I'm spearheading Schweizer World Group, which is our venture capital and venture engine arm based in Singapore. We focus on Southeast Asia as a region. Before that, I've been the CEO of Schweizer Electronics. It's an automotive electronics company based in Germany. That's our family core business dating back to 1849. So by the way, today I'm sitting in a 350-year-old farmhouse. That's what you see in the background. Happy to be here and share my experience and my thoughts about women in venture capital, but on both sides of the table. On the venture capital side and also on the founder sides, because I believe there's a lot of interaction we need to look at when we think about the way forward.
Sure, that's great to hear, Dr. Marin. Before I start, I'll give a brief background about myself as well. I am a founder of Consultancy Ventures. We are closely networked with around 300, 350 investors globally, including from Singapore, the UK, and India. Have done my executive education from Harvard Business School, and we help close a number of venture capital and private equity transactions. I'm personally an investor in 4 companies as well. And it's really great to hear Dr. Marine. So, Dr. Marine, you have to tell us first the importance of this subject, which we are discussing, comes from the fact that women do face certain hurdles, whether they are coming from societal background or from the practices at various companies, and they face hurdles across countries. So I've known women from a number of countries, and we see they face hurdles. So what do you feel that, is it true that women as compared to men face more hurdles in their careers?
I think we shouldn't generalize it. It really depends on the sector and on the stage of the sector. I've been the only one all my life, the only one joining a French company in 2002, Dassault Falcon Service. I've been not French. I've been a lot younger than my predecessor, so I didn't really fit to the standards. So it's more about not being the only one. That can be color, that can be background, that can be religion, that can be gender. But yes, it's true in many industries. The tech industry, I've been for more than 10 years, as well as the venture capital industry. We see more men around the table than women. So there must be something about it. If you look at the German statistics, only 11% of the German founders in 2020 have been female. So it's a little percentage.
Yeah, it's really stark, 11%. Come to think of it, your premier Angela Merkel, she's such a profound leader, and she has been around since a long time. 11% means that, yes, we see the same statistics across the board, even in India and other countries. In terms of building your career, how do you uh, surpass the fact that most of the decision takers are men. So this leads to some kind of a roadblock for at different stages of your career as a woman. So how do women surpass that? How do they go beyond that and reach the level where you have reached and other women have reached?
That's a very interesting question, although there's not an easy answer to that. It's very multi-faced. What I've learned through my career is actually there's a great opportunity if you are the only one to turn it around and make it an advantage. Let me give you an example. I was very fortunate to join a Chestech listed board in Japan in 2014, and a typical Japanese sport, not only the company I joined, it's homegrown talents in their 60s, in their 70s. All my board colleagues have been male. I didn't fit too much into that standard setting neither. I've been from Germany, didn't speak Japanese, didn't climb the career ladder at Meiko Electronics in Japan, although it turned out to be really an advantage to be the only one.
I see. I see. So, because you were the only one and you were displaying your skill sets and fighting the way through, uh, does it mean that it would have taken more time for you to reach where, suppose, another male colleague of yours could have reached? And does it also mean that because a lot of people would actually support a person like you in a situation where you are the only one? So, does it also give you some advantages in that situation?
Yes, let me share another thought first. If you look at climbing the career ladder, I think there are a couple of fundamentals which are valid for all genders, for all races, for all colors. It's a high level of curiosity, a certain amount of being fearless, not closing your eyes or ignoring. It's really being fearless and grabbing opportunities. Where I have seen differences between, let's pick men and women, is women tend to sell less their achievements. Women don't play a dominant role during a meeting. Maybe everybody knows that the merit is to the female leader in the room, but that might not be so obvious because it's not actively shown by female leaders. One, and secondly, we would just assume, and that's an unconscious bias certainly, that the achievement has been more driven by men in the team, which is not always the case for sure. So, and I think it's also a little bit about networking.
Sure.
What I believe is really very important is that you spend a lot of time networking in the circles. So getting a sponsor, getting a business coach, getting a mentor, being the mentor, all these kind of angles of networking is so important. And if you're in a male-dominated industry, like the automotive or tech industries, for instance, it might be a little bit more difficult to be part of the team if everybody else already has close bonds and you don't fit into that. So that's coming back to being fearless. Now I forgot your question. Can you ask it once more for me, please?
No, you answered me partially. So I was just trying to gather from you that, does it give you certain advantages that you are a woman fighting? And does it give you certain, disadvantages in terms of the time taken for you to rise on the corporate ladder?
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult to do because we do have unconscious biases, we do have stereotypes, and sometimes there are just less recruits from outside the industry for female leaders. That's a given. But there are a lot of initiatives that this is changed these days. So let me elaborate a little bit on being the only one. How can you turn being the only one, which might sound as a disadvantage, into an advantage? So the Japanese board example. In a Japanese board, and that's also valid for other boards, um, it's very uncommon to discuss topics from various angles during a board meeting. That's done outside. It's more a kind of protocol type um, meeting
Understood.
where somebody from general administration um, outlines the agenda topics and uh, and then everybody quickly votes. So I was in a fortunate situation that because I didn't know these rules so much, and I was not part of the crowd and part of the typical stereotype, I just spoke up because I felt like doing so. And this clearly was a new experience for everybody. But I was allowed to do so because I was not Japanese. I was not supposed to behave or act like the standards would have required anybody else joining the board from outside. So that's clearly an advantage, and that's valid for many aspects of diversity, and that's why I believe in diversity in all kind of settings, teams, boards, and certainly also in venture capital. But we see more and more women in venture capital.
Yeah, we see, I have seen a lot of women in venture capital nowadays. Uh, do you think that the whole movement towards impact, environmental, social, and corporate governance, the social part of it and the corporate governance part of it, has that, the fact that a lot of money is chasing ESG, has it led to greater participation of women at all levels in the venture capital and fundraising field?
I don't think so. There has never been more assets under management than these days. There is
Mhm.
enormously high amount of dry powder in the private equity and venture capital space out there.
Mhm.
That's not the driver actually. Neither ESG is. ESG might
Mhm.
be in certain aspects. Yes, I'll come to that later. But basically, it's always the same. If you look
Mhm.
at the VC investor side, um,
Mhm.
it's so important that you are in close contact with the entrepreneurs. So what we try to do actually is that on the table on the VC side, we do have in our team entrepreneurs themselves, that they can
Mhm.
speak eye levels, that they have the same experience, that they have a good chance to interact with the entrepreneurs, um, to form the best, to get the best out of the entrepreneurs. So it's really engage with the entrepreneurs uh, to really have true creative capital at the end of the day. And actually, here both aspects come into play. If you have very little female founders, you automatically have less female VCs because there's always a kind of easing conversation between male to male or female to female, even though we might not want to argue like that, but that's the case. So, on the other hand, if there are less female VC founders or partners, then there might be less female founders. So I do see a need actually to work on both sides.
Sure, and that's where women like you, who are outspoken and who have traveled the world, and they are contributing with your experience, and so one critical aspect. So we have women advisors, we have women mentors, we have women eye bankers, then women VCs. How should a woman entrepreneur, what should she do to build credibility in the market, being a woman entrepreneur?
I think there's no big difference how to create credibility. It's just the unconscious biases that are out there in the market that might be a hurdle, or you just hit the ceiling earlier when reaching out. So again, be more proactive, be self-confident, be outspoken, tell your story. Building credibility works pretty much like in any startup. Get your MVP done, get your POC done, try to have one lead customer with a good brand that allows you to actively communicate that partnership. Because sitting on the back of an MNC, a blue chip client, makes you see further and helps you a lot to gain credibility. There's no difference for female founders and male founders actually.
Sure. Some women I know, they go the path of building themselves as a personal brand. So although this is not very dissimilar from male or men doing it, do you feel that that kind of a strategy is more suited to women entrepreneurs, and they can try this strategy?
Building a personal brand is both important for entrepreneur directors or C levels, if you want to call them like that, as for MNC C level in today's media landscape. Because if you just look at LinkedIn, um, messages that are distributed by the corporate pages in LinkedIn generally have less interaction, comments, and views than the personal ones by the senior executives. It's just because uh, on social media and on corporate media like LinkedIn, um, we all want to get that personal flavor. You know, what is the character? What is the culture? How is actually the person or the team representing that company? Because it's people who make a company alive, who deliver the purpose, the vision, the mission, the core values. And that's why building a personal brand in any case is important, from my experience.
Sure. That
But
really
I just have one thought. Um, what is obviously different if you are in a let's say training session or a meeting, um, and you ask everybody to present themselves quickly. There is a difference between men and women. What I experience, um, women tend to talk more about topics outside their achievements, maybe more family and things like that when they start introducing themselves, while the male crowd actually is more on I achieved this, I achieved that, I achieved that, I achieved that. Neither one actually is the key to success. The mix of it, I think, is really the nice one. But it's just my observation. So yet again, all women out there who are watching us, prepare yourself and sell yourself with confidence. It starts also just when you enter the room. Uh, you need to have an active presence. Try to train that. You can do that. Do a lot of participations in panels, in public speaking. The more you do, the more comfortable you're going to feel, and the more authenticity you are going to be able to deliver to whatever audience you're in. And we all shouldn't overthink it. If you start prepping too much what you want to share, sometimes it's not yourself anymore because it's too scripted, and everybody can feel it. And because camera actually, and I'm sitting in front of a camera right now, there is no special light around me. I didn't spend hours to prep our today's VCTV show. 5 minutes before, for sure, I wrote down a couple of bullet points, what I believe is important to share with everybody out there. Nothing else. Be yourself. Everybody else is taken. We all know that nice quote of Oscar Wilde.
amazing. That's really well said, Dr. Marin. You really explained it so well. What do you feel? There is a biological thing, like, the woman can only give a birth to a child, and then, she has to feed the child. So there is a maternity leave. And so, I remember I was seeing an interview of Indira Nui. She's the CEO of PepsiCo and has been CEO for number of years. And recently, she has come out with a book, My Life in Full. And in the release of that book, I was seeing her. She was defining the challenges of being a mother and being a C-suite executive, and the high expectation of the job vis-a-vis the fact that you reached a certain level in life, so you would want your children also to reach a certain level in life. So there is a certain quality time which you need to give to your kids. So what do you feel that, are those is the corporate world ready to accept, to shift their mindset and say that, a lot of women have proven themselves, so let us not make it an issue, and let us say that we live with it. We want her management skills, we want her quality time, and that's what we really want.
Yes, the corporate world is definitely right. The corporate world understood the value of diversity and inclusion, certainly a clear yes. So now is that only lip talk, or is that the predominant topic in a CSR brochure or diversity brochure? Here, there's certainly a question mark. And as we know, the fish stinks from the head. So actually, it's the CEO or the president or the chairman of the board who actually needs to be a role model and to thrive it, and to help and to really live it. Anyway, yes, it's difficult to run a family with children and in parallel have a very high demanding job. But it got easier with the pandemic. Uh, because we all understood that many meetings can be done remotely, as ours today. Before we wouldn't have done that on a regular basis that much. So talking for my own life, I'm a lot more efficient in attending the board meetings, in attending the advisory board meetings. Excuse me. Because I just do not have to travel anymore for most of the cases. I'm sitting currently on 10 advisory boards in startups and one advisory board of a global insurance in 150 countries. So most of our meetings are run remotely. That's a great advantage. They're a lot more flexible. We've all been a lot from home. So I really believe that the flexibility of work from anywhere, of digital tools, helps a lot. Everybody who's running the family, and it might also be men who are running the family, um, if they are taking care of the kids while the other partner is not so much around for whatever reason. So it's time for change, but it will not come automatically. So the head, the fish, the head of the fish really needs to thrive it, to drive it in an organization for anybody and everybody.
Sure, very well said, Dr. Marin. Uh, I know of certain, ex-bankers, women ex-bankers. They, learned their trade while working in global banks, and then they founded woman-specific accelerator and woman-specific venture capital fund or an angel network. And I believe that your work also, it's a large largely towards investing, family office. And so do you feel that you will you would, as a person, orient your investments towards women centric themes, or you would like to keep it agnostic and rather focus on the quality themes and the quality companies available for investment?
We are both a little bit reluctant if it's not mixed teams. Mixed teams in aspects of gender, of professional background, of cultural background, because the mix is really the key. We have a mixed team in our IC, so we also like mixed teams. So that's valid for both genders. So male only team of founders or a female only team um, has really to convince us that they have enough diversity on the board or on the founder side. There's no difference, you know. Nevertheless, I'd like to come back a little bit to managing a career. I think we are very fortunate in Asia, for instance. So Greater Asia, because in Asia we do have a setting where we have a lot of help at home. If I compare it to a German setting, where typically you have less help at home because it's uncommon, it's not affordable for most of us, then it's getting really tough because kids can't wait. You cannot schedule kids according to your calendar. I tried it for many years actually to schedule the time with my kids according to an Outlook calendar. You know, typical focus time here and there and there. To a certain extent, it works. Same in the corporate life. While I want to emphasize, it's a lot about organization. So you have to prioritize your family time as you prioritize your corporate time, each in different slots, and get well organized and get help. And that's where in Asia it's a lot easier actually to have a senior executive role or several senior executive roles and a family time than it is in Germany. So Germany has to pick up actually a lot.
Yes, yes, I absolutely agree with you. My sister, she had a lot of help. She's married, has kids, and she became a marathon runner. From a person who had never done running, she had help, so she oriented herself towards a discipline. She became a marathon runner. My wife, she was investment banker with the number one investment bank in India. Very heavy job, very tiring job, and two kids. So I have seen the challenges which she faced, but she had help at home. So being India, so that really matters a lot. You really hit the nail on the head. uh, I believe this helping at home. I think, but whatever extra help is available at home, it is the men also who need to help more than what they do sometimes, and that is another factor. It's the support of men. For example, I was seeing videos of Kamala Harris, the vice president in the US, and there was a documentary about how her husband always pushed her to do well, to do better. And I think that kind of family help also plays a good role. So thank you, Dr. Marin. I really don't know. We can discuss a little bit more about some examples from the VC and investment space as to the women who did well. Apart from yourself, of course, you are a successful entrepreneur in this space. Some more examples, and maybe then we could close by giving our viewers a little bit of insight into how they could reach us in case they need professional help, and in case they need investment from your family office.
Yes, certainly. You know, the sectors look really very different. If you look at the statistics, let's just, as I'm in Germany currently, I'll pick the German statistics to share with our audience. If we look in which sectors we see the most female founders, it's textile in
Oh.
Germany. So
You
clothes
mean
related things.
fashion, or you mean
Fashion, yeah, yeah. It sounds a little bit like a stereotype, but that's actually that's the facts. So to a certain extent, as in the corporate life, we see more women in HR related activities or marketing related activities. So these are the facts. So if you intend to help women getting the capital from the VC side, you can, I think, take it from two sides. You can say, okay, now I'm talking VC. Okay, we look into the sectors where we have a lot of women, and then we do a selection, and we'll find the best ones that fit, uh, where we can make the startup successful together. The VC side, the family office side, as well as the founders and entrepreneurs at one table. You could also say, okay, fine. Why not look into sectors where there are very few women? Obviously, those women who overcome the hurdles to get into these more difficult sectors for women, they must have already overcome a lot of things. So they should be actually more experienced, have more fighting power, probably made a better play in building their startup to a certain stage. So we take it from both directions. We are looking at sectors where a lot of women, and then we do the selection process as we do in other sectors, and we also specifically identify sectors where we see a low percentage of women, and then pick some of them, and we are very often positively surprised.
Right. That's really amazing. The viewers will be happy to know that a lot of Dr. Marin's work is towards helping women entrepreneurs and women founders and the startups which have a balanced team, balanced from all sides. So thank you, Dr. Marin. Before ending, I will request you to tell the viewers how can they reach you in case, and what all can they reach you for? Can they reach you for funding or mentoring or or advice or advisory? What all services they could reach you for, and how can they reach you?
Yeah, my name is Maren Schweitzer. On LinkedIn, you can find me with Maren Celine Schweitzer, as there are many Maren Schweitzers, so that's the direct link to me. Please also visit our website, schweitzer.world. We have a founder section where you can also pitch your startup and get into our deal flow. If not, in a personal capacity, I like being a mentor. I do have two mentees at the same time from the German accelerator. Um, so in one I'm the lead mentor, in the other one I'm the expert mentor. I'm sitting on a lot of advisory boards. So um, an advisory board, is not a governance board. So it's not a director's role. It's not a decision-making role. So an advisor is your think tank, can help you on go-to-market, on strategizing, can also help you on expert topics if it's an expert mentor. We generally do set up advisory boards, which consist of a team of six, 2 to 3 from the director side or the team of the startup, then one chair advisor and two expert advisors who regularly meet. That's one topic. Mentorship is different. Mentorship is a one-to-one, while advisory is advisors together with the team of the startup. So I think the first thing, if you are thinking on, hey, why not get outside expertise into our company, is to spend some time to discuss which scope really fits to your startup at the stage of your startup. And I'm very happy to run that with you, to really identify where you can get the highest value. It might be a governance role, it might be an advisor role, it might be a mentor role on a permanent basis or on an ad hoc basis, while I believe advisory boards need to be set on a permanent basis to really work. So feel free to reach out to me. From the investment side, we are doing from seed to Series A. In exceptional cases, we move up to Series C. We've invested into 34 companies over the last 4 years in Southeast Asia. They are all platforms, digital eco-platforms. Our sectors we are looking into currently with primary focus are advanced manufacturing, analytics, and AI.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Marin, for this wonderful discussion today on such a crucial topic of women in venture capital and investing space. Thank you, Hasmek, and to all the viewers. Myself, Tushar Kansal. My website is consultancy.com, and I'm available on LinkedIn. You can search my name over there, Tushar Kansal. We help do venture capital deals from $300,000 to $5 million, and we are sector agnostic, and we also create the documentation for these deals, and happy to help you achieve your funding aims. Thank you, Dr. Marin, once again. Thank you, Hasmik. Thank you all for joining in. Have a great day, and to all the women out there, uh, let's celebrate your success and make it happen. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks for having me. Bye bye.